Welcome in to season 2, episode 1 of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com. That's right, we're back. Brandon Baney, joined by Sean Kane. We'll have a cool intro at some point. It's one of those things on my to-do list before the school year starts. So anyways, we are coming at you here in the second week of August, the first full week of August. Brandon Baney with Sean Kane, as I said. Sean, how was your summer?
Hey, my summer's it's fast. It goes by faster and faster every year, just been busy. We've been doing some tennis stuff and I've been really not doing a whole lot, just camping and tennis and stringing a lot of tennis rackets for the community. And also I did some radio spots for KISU. So my buddy works there, so I'll come in and read some stuff. So, my only third season of broadcasting, but I'm going to be entering my 18th year of coaching. So it's kind of crazy to think. And I always think about, you think about, oh, I'm doing it because the kids need me to do it. But I mean, really, when it comes down to it, I think I still need the kids, and I'm the one that needs it at this point. So I'm real excited to do that. I'm real excited to go back on the road with you, Brandon, hit some games. We did 16 weeks last year. So, they got some little show on HBO called Hard Knocks. We got a little better show here every week for you guys.
No doubt about it. Yeah, we're going to be broadcasting football games together again this fall. I'm sure we'll do some basketball in the winter as well. As a refresher, we may have new listeners, new viewers, or maybe some old friends that are coming back after we took some time off in the summer. I know the plan was to have, all these interviews throughout the summer, but it turns out, Sean and I got busy camping and doing things, but more importantly, a lot of the people we wanted to talk to got busy. People are out doing things in the summertime. So we just decided to take a little time off. We'll come back and kind of refamiliarize everybody with what it is we do here on the East Idaho Prepcast each and every week. So this is your weekly breakdown. I mean, we're here almost every week throughout the school year. We may occasionally take a week off. But we try to do something every week, and we're talking about the biggest stories in districts 5 and 6 each week in the state of Idaho, all throughout East Idaho. Could be football, could be soccer, could be tennis in the springtime, certainly. So if you have a team or a story or a player you want us to kind of shine the spotlight on, feel free to send me an email. Brandon at IdahoSports.com is the email address to send that to. And otherwise, we'll cover what we think are kind of the big stories going on in East Idaho each and every week. Now, there are 4 different ways that you can consume this podcast each and every week. So really, there's no excuses here. There's everywhere you turn, there's an avenue to listen or watch this. So if you want to do the audio only thing, you can go to IdahoSports.com. Right across the top of the homepage, there's all this great stuff like game streams and schedules and scores, and you'll definitely want to check that stuff out. But what you're looking for on the homepage is across the top, it says Prepcasts. And from there's a drop-down menu. You'll see East Idaho Prepcast. Go ahead and click that bad boy. It'll take you to the page that's got a player already on it. You hit play, and you're off and running. You can also download this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts: Google, Spotify, Apple. If you're an Android user like me, the app is called Podcast Addict, which makes me sound like I have an obsession or something. But you
all
can
history ones, I'm sure.
Shocking. I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I'm sure that surprises absolutely no one. So you can download the weekly podcast, but an even easier way to get it every week is to subscribe. If you subscribe to the East Idaho Prepcast, it does all the work for you. You don't have to go hunting and searching to find us every single week. The new episode will just get automatically downloaded to your podcast catcher of choice. You can also tune into the video version of this Prepcast each and every week. You can see our home setups. Sean, you've got the nice lounge chair in the back there. Is that a couch or a chair?
It's a couch. We've got the Michael Jordan jersey hanging in the back. It's just the basement.
And I've got a sterile white wall behind me. I finally slapped up an Idaho Sports sign, but otherwise,
We'll get some green screens. It's coming. Don't worry.
right. You can tune into the video version of this prepcast each and every week as well on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, as well as the Facebook page. So a lot of different ways you can get this podcast, and starting this week, we're going to be here every week talking about the biggest things. It'll be some preview type stuff before we really get going, and then we'll have actual games and results and stories to talk about. So for those that don't know, I'm Brandon Baney. I'm basically in charge at IdahoSports.com. I kid, of course. Our great boss, Paul Kingsbury, is the guy in charge, but I do a lot for IdahoSports.com. I work full time. I actually live in Pocatello. So I live in District 5. I live in East Idaho. So I am really in tune with what's going on over here. And Sean, you live in Pocatello as well.
Yeah, I mean, we probably could do this together. We're only like 5 blocks away. I just was thinking about that, but it's really easy to do it this way. Yeah, I'm in Pocatello too, and yeah, like I said, I've been coaching for 18 years, and I've just kind of always worked with a lot of coaches and different things and avenues to help better sports in Idaho. And then one day, I think the first day you came and helped, we were helping Paul out do a game, and that's kind of where it all started 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm just real excited to see what we have. First week of sports started Monday, and everyone's in camps and practicing, and I'm hearing all about it. So it's been pretty fun. And we've got golf this fall too. So that's a whole new thing. We'll have some golf highlights, I'm sure, and maybe some conflicts.
Yes, definitely. That's one of the big stories is 5A and 4A golf moving to the fall for the first time this year. Yes, Sean, our first day at IdahoSports.com was the exact same day. It was actually a Friday night. Century was playing Bonneville.
Mm-hmm.
And originally we were just supposed to kind of observe and kind of just shadow and learn. But there was some technical stuff going on, and the regular broadcasters had to step away. And next thing I know, here we are, and we're doing. I was running the camera, you were keeping stats. We were both commenting on what was going on. It was a wild time 3 years ago for sure.
Just throw you in the fire, Yeah, it was my first time ever. Someone called Paul and said I wanted to do it. And I'm like, okay, and then we were just doing it, with really no supervision, and yeah, it's worked out all right. I think we've done all right.
Yeah, we keep failing upward,
Oh, yeah.
and we get into these
tripping up those stairs tripping up the stairs
for sure. So you're going to hear Sean and I a lot this fall on East Idaho Game Night, or Gate City Game Night. That's a new broadcast we're going to bring to you. We are proud to announce that we will be broadcasting all of the home games and most of the road games for Highland, Pocatello, and Century this year, all 3 of the Pocatello schools. It's going to be called Gate City Game Night. It's going to be brought to you by Lookout Credit Union and some other great sponsors as well. And so I'm really excited to be here finally doing some Pocatello games, because there's some good football being played in the Gate City for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. We kind of were Brandon and Sean every week, and it'll be nice to have a little hometown action, with the people we know, and the community, and all the sponsors locally too. It'll be great for everyone.
Definitely. And yeah, we did travel a lot last year, and of course up north in District 6 as well. Once again, we will be broadcasting all of the games at Ravston Stadium, where Idaho Falls and Skyline, the 2-time defending 4A champion Skyline, play. We're going to have a lot of Skyline Grizzly football for you this year as well. So stay tuned for that. You can see all of the broadcasts we have planned by checking the game streams tab at IdahoSports.com. So Sean, you said you've been a coach for 18 years. You are, and you're modest, and I know you're not going to want me to say this, but you are one of the most acclaimed tennis coaches in Idaho history.
If other people watch this, I'm gonna get a lot of crap. But I mean, yeah, we've won 8 state titles at Century, and it's been a crazy ride. It's a lot of fun, and we're facing some new challenges now in the Gate City, and I'm sure every coach would say that in a good and a good and some unpositive ways. But you don't coach because you want it to be easy. You coach for the challenges, and I'm excited for those challenges. And it's been a lot of fun. And and it's really funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a tennis coach," and then I'm friends with all these other coaches, and they're like, why are you friends with this weird tennis coach?" But it's great throwing the ideas off, and all the other coaches. And like one person I still talk to all the time is Travis Hobson up at Thunder Ridge. And so just all those relationships and stuff are a lot of fun. But yep, 18 years of tennis in Idaho, and we're finally getting some changes, it looks like, in some format. And it'll be exciting. It's always a weather thing for me, though. If the weather's good and my tan's good, then I'm all right. But if I'm cold and in sweatpants, I'm grumpy. So
well, we've got a ways to go before we're in the spring talking
yeah,
about
football.
I'm
excited.
For sure. So yeah, you're a perfect person to have on the East Idaho Prepcast every week, because you are plugged into not just what's going on in tennis, but you're plugged into coaches all over in football and basketball and wrestling, etc. And you're also plugged into a lot of the athletic directors in East Idaho as well. I've found that a lot of times you're a good resource to talk about, this thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, when we were in that big conference and there was 9 schools, and I ran the tournament, the district tournament, I got to meet a bunch of different ADs, and I talked to Kevin from Wood River a lot still, and just a lot of ADs. And and I think we can both find sometimes it's hard to get information from people, like sometimes for us, and it's good to have those resources. And in Idaho, sometimes we have to kind of group together in different sections to kind of push things forward or whatever. So kind of being able to rally the wagons there, circle the wagons with everyone is helpful. And I really like doing that. And I like talking to everyone, and it's been really exciting. So, and now I think people know I'm actually broadcasting and not just asking them weird questions. So why is he calling me? What's this tennis coach doing? But yeah, I think the people now know I do a little side broadcasting.
For sure. When there is something I have a question about, like, hey, why is this happening, or why does this thing run like this? You're one of the first people I always ask, because I know you're pretty plugged into what's going on. So
yeah, and then being a teacher, you get that side of it too. And at the end of the day, people have rivalries and stuff, but everyone's a coach and wants what's best for the players and kids and education, and everyone can come together for that and talk and meet at the table. And that's really the best stuff. And I find that really interesting, even though I'm just a tennis coach. But they let me come talk a little bit.
For sure. And so you teach at Century, you coach at Century. Before anybody thinks that this is a Homer podcast where, it's all Century and all good things, no. That's not the case. We'll talk about Century when it's warranted, and we'll talk about other schools when it's warranted. I think probably the school cumulatively we spent the most time talking about last year, I'm trying to think, probably like West Side, of course, in football.
We did a lot of West Side. Yeah, there's a lot of West Side. And for the record, I'm a Pocatello High graduate.
Yes. My
first coaching job was at Highland High School, and then I'm at Century. So I've worked at all 3 high schools. So yeah, well, I'm and I know people at all of them. So I'm real excited just to get Southeast Idaho out there as far as everyone. You got to look at everyone. But yeah, we did a lot of West Side. Yeah, how could you not talk about West Side all year long, really?
Yeah, West Side was so good in pretty much every sport they decided to try. Skyline, of course, we had their girls basketball coach Ty Keck on for an off-season podcast. Rockland had a really good overall athletics year last year. So those are the schools and kind of the things we were talking about last year. And we'll see what storylines emerge here in season 2 of the East Idaho Prepcast. I wanted to tackle 2 big stories that kind of happened over the off season. And I will say real quickly, it's really nice to see the facilities at some of East Idaho's bigger schools get a facelift, right? Rigby is getting this fantastic turf put in. I've seen pictures of it throughout the summer. The news, local News 8 did a great story on it. They went out and actually had video of the new field. Rabston Stadium in Idaho Falls got a facelift, got some turf put in, and here in Pocatello as well. Pocatello High School will be debuting the new Lookout Credit Union Field this fall.
And I drove by there, and it's starting to come together. So, and as being a Pocatello grad, man, a home field. What a weird idea.
Yes, and this issue has really split the community of Pocatello. I feel like there are either people who, so the way it worked in Pocatello, this is the biggest story that happened this offseason, was the abrupt resignation of longtime Highland football coach Gino Mariani, one of the most respected coaches in the state, Highland's all-time leader in wins. He won multiple state championships at Highland, of course, played quarterback at Idaho State University in the 80s and then never left Pocatello. He came from Nevada originally to play college football. But one of the big points of dissension that led to this breakup between Highland and Coach Mariani was the fact that the Pocatello School District decided that they weren't going to play their games inside Holt Arena at Idaho State University any longer. That was an agreement when Holt Arena was built in 1980, I think, 81. I can't remember. It was in the early 80s.
That's been a long time.
Yeah, pretty much from the get-go, Holt Arena and the schools had an agreement that, yeah, hey, we'll let you come in here and play your games. You don't have to worry about weather. We'll provide the staffing. You'll just pay us an amount up front. And it worked out really well for a lot of years. But then COVID-19 happened. Holt Arena stayed closed. And they said, sorry, we can't let you come in here and play. There's a pandemic. And that kind of left all three high schools scrambling to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Century has their own football facility. It had been used just as a practice facility in the past, but they were able to get that game ready in a short amount of time. Highland, of course, on their campus, they have Iron Horse Stadium where a lot of middle school football is played, and track, of course, big track meets are held there. And they were able to kind of quickly assemble something of a working varsity football field, but Pocatello had nothing. And Pocatello High School, because of where it's located in downtown Pocatello, it's an area where they can't grow and expand the campus, right? They're in the heart of what's called Old Town Pocatello, where they're pretty much capped at what they can do. So Pocatello had to play all their home games at Iron Horse Stadium, which is really Highland Stadium. So they really just never felt like they had that identity. And so now with this brand new Lookout field that's going to be over by Hawthorne Middle School, Pocatello finally has its own home facilities. But boy, I could talk to 10 people, Sean, and 5 will say, I'm glad that each school is getting its own facilities. And 5 will tell me they never should have left Holt Arena.
Yeah. And then it's the same way, people are like, for me, it's a really cool thing to have a field for Pocatello High School, but then it's at Hawthorne Junior High. So it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that. Like, you've got it, but it's still not on campus. And a lot of people are kind of like that too. And, and a lot of that comes from taking donations. School District 25 didn't take donations forever. And then all of a sudden they took, they've taken some donations from ICCU and Lookout for those jumbotrons and field and connections, build a new press box at Iron Horse. Hopefully we'll get a checkout later in the season. And so that, to me, that was the big changing point in Pocatello, is all of a sudden we're taking money for things. They're building a new baseball field too at Highland. But before, and I know, some football programs had money lined up and they weren't able to use that money. And then all of a sudden now we're taking the money, but we're not doing things that maybe were in the plan before. We're doing what we're doing now. But yeah, it's just kind of a difficult situation. And like you said, I'd say people would be 50-50 about it. And it just kind of would depend on who you talk to. And but all my friends that played high school football, and I have some friends that played for Highland and they're big time players, and man, they said what an advantage it was to play in the mini dome late in the season or whatever, because they played their home games and they get to go there for their championship. So I think that'll be kind of missed in the community for that kind of championship, because are they still going to have championship games there? Do you know that?
Yes, I think because those playoff games are owned by the IHSAA and not up to the individual schools. So yes, some of those semifinal championship and possibly quarterfinal games could get moved to Holt Arena. So Here's the biggest reason why I am a proponent of each school having their own facilities, because it's more than just football. Talking to Tanya Wilkes, the athletic director for School District 25 in Pocatello. So each high school has their own athletic director, and then Tanya Wilkes is the athletic director for the entire district, all three high schools. She said the idea is to give each school not only its own football facility, but its own track and field facility. So if they want to host a smaller track meet or a triangular, quadrangular, whatever, they can. But also soccer. They want the ability with turf to be able to play soccer, because right now soccer in Pocatello is a mess. Sometimes sometimes it's at a middle school. Sometimes it's at the Portneuf Wellness Complex, which is just a gigantic grass field. There's nothing really distinguishing. I mean, it's a mess. And so for each school to have its own dedicated facilities for soccer, track, and football, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a great way to go. And I love it at the place. I just wherever you're at that school, you get that sense of community. They maybe have food trucks or they make something. I mean, we went to Raft River and got scones that were unreal. So everyone gets their own little, whatever they have, their own little special thing, and that's great. It's just change, and a lot of times people don't like change, but in a few years we'll go, do you remember when we were in the mini dome? No, the mini dome, that will happen too. But I think bigger picture, if you look across Idaho, Pocatello is a little lacking in facilities. I mean, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it is. We're just not up to par with the turf in Boise. Even Idaho Falls is making gains. You've got to provide the same things that keep our athletes competitive, because Southeast Idaho is super competitive against a much bigger area, and facilities is a big part of that, and that gets people in the seats, it gets sponsors, it gets donations, it gets excitement in your community, and you've got to keep moving forward and kind of have that plan, I think, really for your community and your just to get better.
Yeah, the goal eventually is to have facilities, with turf and everything at all three schools. Pocatello is just the first because they had been neglected for so long. But plans, I'm pretty sure in the works for Century and Highland as well. And it's just, when you're talking millions of dollars, you have to do it in increments. And so,
everything gets behind too. Like, you can't get a certain screw and then that holds everything back for a week, and I guess that's been the case for everything in building too. So as far as those supply chain things, that holds it up as well,
for sure. So that was the biggest story of the offseason, was Gino Mariani kind of abruptly resigning in June as Highlands football coach. Nick Sorrell, their longtime defensive coordinator, takes over, and he's going to do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
It'll be
anytime there's any coaching job open, his name is always the first one I hear. And I don't think he really wanted to leave Highland. But Highland will be in great shape, and I don't think you'll see really any drop off with him. He's a great coach there as well.
Definitely. And, Century's got a new football coach as well. Ryan Fleischman is back for his second stint as head coach. He was head coach in the mid 2000s, and then had kind of been an assistant at times. And Logan Horrocks only lasted 1 year at Century, and I'm not even sure where he went. He was from,
I believe he might be on the Rigby staff now. I believe that's the last thing I heard. Yeah, Ryan's two boys graduated, two oldest boys. He's still got a younger boy and a daughter, but Ryan Fleischman's boys graduated, and he decided to come back, and he brought back a lot of old guys, a lot of old ISU players like Bruce Givens, Jay Ferguson, and he's kind of got. I mean, they might need some wheelchairs, but they'll get them out there. They'll have some experience on the coaching side. I hope they watch that.
Now you can say that because you're a Century guy. I can't say that.
But it's like they have like, if you probably look at a coaching staff with experience, they've got to be one of the most experienced coaching staffs coming into the season. And it's funny to see these old grumpy guys are all excited about it again, and it's a lot of fun to watch them get excited about it. But yeah, it'll be a fun, I think, a really fun time for those guys to kind of get back into coaching and have a kind of a young squad to work with. So it should be fun.
Definitely. And that means that Dave Spillett over at Pocatello High, he's the old dog. He's the only guy that's not a first year
He
head
was the
coach.
new guy, right? He was always the new guy. Now
Yeah.
he's the long tenured veteran.
That's right. So we'll be talking more about those teams coming up on a future edition of the Prepcast. The other big story of the offseason was, Century last year for boys basketball had this freshman phenom, Isaiah Harwell, who ate everybody's lunch basically that tried to go up against him. And he doesn't look like a freshman. He doesn't play like a freshman. And you're thinking, oh man, we got four years of this guy. Well, not really. You only had 1 year because about a month ago, maybe a month and a half, Isaiah announced that he is transferring to the Wasatch Academy in Utah to play out his prep career. And I get it. That's a move that's going to get more eyeballs on him because Wasatch Academy is a nationally ranked basketball program in the state of Utah.
Yeah, and in prepping this, I called and talked to Ryan Frost, Century's coach, yesterday, and talked to him about it. And just what a great opportunity for Harwell, and just something new to Idaho. Like, we don't know how these things turn out. So when I asked him, well, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. It's something new. It's different. We're not used to kids leaving their high schools to go to their high schools, even though Mike Day from Middleton just announced he's going to prep school in New Mexico. So it's kind of a new, something different when we don't have that, you don't have that answer like, yeah, that's the best thing. It's just something new and exciting. And also saw Harwell got asked to be on the USA U16 team again. So he's just a 6'5", 15-year-old with an offer from every Division I college. And, I think it's cool and it's neat. But then, you kind of get worried, like, are kids going to get recruited out of high school now? I mean, it's a whole new door, a whole bunch of doors opening that I've never even thought about. So
yeah, the first time I saw it was last year. There was a player at Bishop Kelly, Cade Rice, and he was the son of Leon Rice, the Boise State men's basketball coach, and he transferred to a prep school in Missouri, I think. But it was for 1 year. It was for his senior year, right? And Mike Day is a senior. I haven't seen it yet where it's an underclassman that's going to be going for 3 years. To a prep school. And so we'll see how it plays out. I think Isaiah Harwell is going to be kind of the exception, not the rule. I mean, he is a generational talent. And so I think in general, Idaho's athletes are going to stay in Idaho, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. But it was just like something you just don't really see every day. And especially like you said, that young, you never see that. But, they've stated how that they're just looking for that better competition, and hopefully it works out to the best. And man, it'll just be really exciting to watch where he goes and all that. And and I was the first person to introduce him at games, so I don't know, maybe that will pan off for me.
That's right, because you did some PA announcing.
I became the PA announcer for the girls and boys basketball game, kind of a little bit into the season off. I was not planning to do that, but it was a lot of fun. So
for sure. So those were the two kind of big stories in the off season, in my opinion, in terms of what was going on in East Idaho. And so now, starting next week, Sean, we'll dive into some previews. Our football previews are up on our website, IdahoSports.com. We do a preview for every single team in the state. We've got about 80 previews as we're recording this up on the site. We're going to have the rest of them done this week and this weekend. So by next Monday, every team in Idaho should be there for you to read and peruse. We'll do some football previews, and then we'll get into soccer and volleyball and cross country and golf a little bit as well. Sound good?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Tune in each week. It's the East Idaho Prepcast with Sean Kane. I'm Brandon Baney. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks for tuning in on IdahoSports.com.